Hello, I'm Earl Gibbs, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. I have a very interesting guest. Many years ago, I had him on the program. Well, he's back for second or third time, but the last time he was here was over a decade. But you'll meet him. We'll talk about the work he's doing and a lot more. Let me tell you about the sponsors. Windward Islands Bank in Phillipsburg, cul-de-sac, and in Simpsonville. The Windward Islands Bank for all your banking needs. That's the Windward Islands Bank. And GEBE. GBE Service and Marketing for over 6 decades. That's GEBE, your local water and electricity company. And I'm Earl Gibbs here and Speaking of Everything. And here's my guest, Mr. Elvison Adamus. How are you doing, sir?
Well, pretty good, pretty good.
Now, you're director of Keys Freedom Foundation, right?
Yes, I am.
It was a long time I had you here in the program. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember in 2011, I was here with you.
That's over 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are things going so far with you?
Well, the truth is, right now things are going rough.
Oh.
It's been very rough. We were at the edge of closing our doors.
Really?
Yeah. And we're surviving still because we get people that pitch in a little help.
Mm.
And we get reaction also from, for example, Rolando Bryson, who is busy talking with Honorable Minister Otley. Between the two of them, they busy contacting to see if we can get any help, because right now we are with our back against the wall, as the landlord has asked us to vacate the place, and we're looking to relocate the guys then. But in the meanwhile, we got sponsorship. Honorable Rolando spoke with Robbie, and he gave us 3 months food, which he promised. He already gave us 2, and we're expecting another one. It alleviated the process a little bit, but it don't solve the problem. But we highly appreciate all the help.
So you have never been receiving any subsidy from government over the years?
Directly from the government, not, but we used to be subsidized by SMDF.
Okay.
2015, 2016.
That's Samant Development.
Samantha Development Fund.
Yeah.
It started with Kit Franca. He started to help us. We were getting funding. But also I have to admit, we were not so good in administration. So the financial reports were not accurate as they demanded. And that's one of the reasons that they stop it.
Yeah, because they need to have all the records and financial reports in order.
Yeah, we had an accountant in charge who used to do the paperwork, but nevertheless, they were always lacking 1 or 2 receipts.
Yeah.
And they have to give account for every penny, and
Right.
it didn't work out.
You know, Mr. Adamus, when I last spoke with you, and that's over 10 years now, I was very impressed because I got to know you through how you had turned your life around. And after you turned your life around, you started Keys for Freedom Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And you have an entire board with you. But it's a remarkable job that you're doing with young men here in St. Martin. So I think, tell us a little bit about that, because that's important for people to understand what you're doing, where you came from, and where you are now.
Okay, I basically our vision is to work with drug addicts and alcoholics, people that have problem with addiction. But to tell you the truth, the need on the island is much more than that. There's a lot of youngsters that get caught right now. They have different type of drugs on the road right now that affecting the youth. That it's not like long ago. There's a lot of chemical involved, and it make them hallucinate sometimes for 3, 4, 5 days.
That long?
Yeah.
Wow.
And during that process, if people don't understand what is going on, they might think they're crazy. So automatically they end up in the mental health. And after you reach in that condition like that by mental health, they have to tranquilize you. And most of the time they end up on certain medications for the rest of their life. And when you look on the road, when you look on the street, you can see the results. You understand? A young man that could have been healthy and strong working, and they just has lost the future. There's a great need out there. I do what I can do with my limitations, but we are working. If there was a possibility that we could have done more, I would have done more.
But you've been doing a lot, very quietly, because people don't know much about it, very quietly.
Well, I believe is the results that claps louder.
Right.
So I believe in action, love in action. It's all about helping people. It's not about being famous. I've done this in Curacao before I came here. I've done it in Aruba and Bonaire. And then after I came here, and I'm looking forward to help people, not to become famous. We always work on a low profile.
You know, you mentioned about how things have changed over the years. The average person, we don't know because we don't have any experience, or some of us don't even have a family member that's involved in drugs. But from your experience and being director at Keys Freedom Foundation, what are some of the telltales? What should people look for, especially loved ones?
Well, you see, if some people say it's the education you receive at home. Well, I had good education at home, and I failed to. So it's not all about the education. It's environment and what you allow to make impact in your life. There's a lot of youngsters, they are under peer pressure. You understand? And this causes a lot of problem. If you look at, for example, you go on a block, I know you will never go, but if you go in a block and you see the amount of youngsters on a block that have been dropped out of school, and nothing has been done for them. We only have NEPA now, but before we didn't even have NEPA. So this young boy at 11 years, daddy ain't home. He tried to defend himself in school. He's scared. He take a knife or a scissor, whatever he took to school to defend himself. And now he end up that they don't want him in school no more, because 99% of our teachers are female, and they don't want to take a risk with a boy like that. So they prefer to send him home. Now the problem is, after this guy go home and he's 11 years or 12 years, and now he's making 14 and 15. And now he have a girlfriend. He have to buy a phone for the girl. He need a scooter, which mostly they like. He want to get his license, and he can't get a job. So automatically he gonna end up on the block looking for love and looking for finance. So we creating monsters in our community just like that. And that's also a problem that we need to deal with.
And is there any type of signs that a parent can look for in a youngster to recognize? Because sometimes you speak with parents and they're very oblivious to what's going on with their children.
You see, the change of behavior is one of the most practical signs. But if you see the communication is lacking, when the communication is lacking in the family, the parents can't notice anything. We live in a time now where both parents are working. They got to produce. They're working 8 hours, sometimes more. When the children go into school, they see the parents. When the parents come home, maybe they're in bed already. they have to make a lot of sacrifice, and there's not a communication like in the past. So they are more free. They are being educated by their computers and friends more than their own parents. So they won't notice anything so easy, because by the time they come home, the child's sleeping. When they see the child in the morning, the child's sober again.
Wow. And you mentioned earlier about the drugs that can have someone on the high for 2 or 3 days. What is this? Is this marijuana, or is this something much more powerful?
It has something going around. It looks like marijuana. It smells like marijuana, but it's not marijuana. And this can cause you to hallucinate for 3-4 days. And people won't understand. They don't know what you smoke. They just think that you turn crazy, which is not so. If you detoxificate naturally, you get a place for isolation for a couple of days, you will get back to normal. But we don't have that facility here, so the only way out here is to take you, bring you by mental health, and let them put a spiritual on you and keep you calm.
So now, how many young men? You only have young men, or you also have women at the?
No, we don't have women. We only
men?
work with men. You
Okay.
can't mix them.
Yeah. So how many young men you have now at the facility?
8 with me, 9.
So it's got to be very expensive to take care of 8 young men.
It is. At this moment, we cannot take no more, because we are at a point where we have to come out. We don't know exactly where we're going if we come out of there. We get word supposed to take it easy. We're going to get help, but we owe 5 months rent now, and we don't know how it's going to be.
But if you get the assistance that you mentioned earlier from some of the politicians, or if you get some subsidy, will the landlord let you stay and continue?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Once he gets his money, we can stay. But the guarantee that we don't have, I never take words as guarantee. Yeah.
You know, over the years, and from the time I've met you and know what you're doing, do you have like an estimate as to the amount of young men that pass through the facility?
What I can tell you is that we have a graduation coming up.
Really?
2 months from now.
Good.
And we are going to invite all the oldies that finish their program and graduate there, that are working out there. We're going to invite them to come as well, so that we can take a big group picture. I would like to have that on my wall as well.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but to give you an exact figure, I cannot give it to you now unless I go and search in the files.
Oh, okay.
Because it have people that they were there in 2011 and they changed their life and they pass. They ain't there no more, and it have others that are working. Like the other day I went to the medical center and I hear somebody bawling out and calling my name, and I turn and look, and this guy come and he greet me, but I didn't really know who he was until he start talking, and then I realized, I said, hey, but you was by me. And that's how it goes sometimes.
It's amazing because Keys for Freedom Foundation helps so many young men, put them back on track.
Yeah, one of the person that used to be a key for our worship and things when we have in music was the late Betty Dahl, Yvette's son. He was the first person who came in by us. And I'm so happy that before he passed, he managed to produce a CD that he said he will bring forth a CD. And he had his group with his brother and some other guys, and they produced a gospel CD, and he was very happy about it, and I was very proud too, because He was the first one who came into Key to Freedom.
Really?
Yeah, he was the first person who came in when we started 11 years ago in Soccer Garden.
And that's his name again is?
Betty Dahl.
Betty Dahl. It's amazing what you have done, because I can still remember the first time we spoke with you. And that time, we didn't have that many people on substance abuse like we have now.
Yeah,
it has grown tremendous there.
Yes, it's increasing alarmingly. There's a lot of youths that getting caught up now, but also we have to say there's a lot of you that are inquiring about the consequences as well, so that they can stay away. And I believe that if we should start with more preventions program in the schools, and go into the schools and let the children know what this is and the consequences, so that they can stay away from it. If nobody tells them, they will have to experiment it for themselves, and it's not everybody get the same effect. It have people that they affect them, that they get hooked on it, and
very easily.
And then they can't come off.
Are you open to any invitation from schools that they ask you to?
Yes, I've done it before. I even received certificates from schools, St. Martin Academy, PSV, and they were very grateful. We done programs, and I'm always willing to help in that area.
All right. In case you just joined us, this is Speaking of Everything. I'm speaking with Mr. Elvison Adamus. He's director at Keys for Freedom Foundation. It's a facility for substance abuse users, mainly men. When I come back, we'll continue with him right here on Speaking of Everything. Please stay with us.
In order to know what you want out of life, you need to observe, listen, and try it yourself.
Promises, we can make it if we work together. That's just how it is. Let's stand strong, and serve the land. Working hard as one nation. Yes, we can.
The more difficult it is to achieve, the more satisfying it is to make it.
Just believe in us, we'll see you through it all. Oh, never give up. Oh, never give up. We can make it.
Never forget those who were there for you. And if you dream big, you might just achieve it.
The power to serve, standing for community. OGB, got the power to serve, the power to serve. We got the energy. OGB.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more,
I'm Earl Gibbs here with Mr. Adamus. He is director for Keys to Freedom Foundation. This is Speaking of Everything, the longest television program in the history of St. Martin, and it's always a pleasure to have Mr. Adamus here with us, because what you are doing, that there's Turning Point, and they're always full too, and there's Keys to Freedom, but there's a difference between you and I don't want to put anyone down here, and Turning Point is that your experience is different because you bring with you a personal experience and knowledge about substance abuse, and I think that's also very important.
Yeah, I would rather say we complement with Turning Point, especially now that they have changed their system completely and they work with people that are demanded by the church.
Oh, so you all work with together then?
Curatella.
That's good.
I have great respect for Turning Point, the leaders.
Is Dr. Richardson still there?
I believe he's still the president. Dr. Judith Arundel, Pastor Illich, I know a few of them. They've been doing a great job all the time. When I came basically to work with the peoples then from the street that has been totally rejected, that nobody wants them. Because when you look at this, a lot of people out there suffering, parents, moms, because addiction is a family matter. Once one person in the family get caught in addiction, the whole family around him is suffering with him because nobody wants to see one of the loved ones in addiction. It hurts, and everybody get involved. Some passing shame, others just they can't take it. They grieve and stuff like that. And on the other side, it is a social problem because when a person like that out there, and they will be harassing the tourists, the shops and everything, and it's a social problem. And based on that, I consider it that it is also a government responsibility. Turning Point doing a great job. I'm focusing in a different direction because people from the streets, those are those that I take. Sometimes a mother reached by me and she crying. She don't want to see her son like that, or sometimes her father. And it's hard for you to turn them back with that child to go home. Sometimes a wife at the edge of divorce, she don't want to lose the man, but she want the man to change. And when you see those kind of tears, you will be moved to help these people. And I've seen couples come back together after the man changed their life, and those things does bring joy to me, and it gives me courage to continue.
And I think why I said that you were different is not to minimize what Turning Point is doing. I've had them many times on the program many years ago. But what I meant is that, you see, there's a lot of programs all over the world. But when you have a person at the top of this program, in this case, you're a director at the Keys to Freedom Foundation, you've experienced that. You've lived it. So those guys can't pull no wool over your face. You know exactly when they're giving you a 6 for a 9.
Yeah.
I think that is very, very important when you see what you're doing.
Yes, I understand. I understand you. Look, when these guys go out and they come back, I can do a urine test for the benefit of doubt for them, but the moment they walk in, I know whether they use or not.
Yeah.
You understand? I live in that, and I know exactly how it goes. It has so many ways, and to tell you, after I finish, and I change my life. We say we learn from the street university, and with my background of theology that I had when I was in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, so I combine it together, and I went to work in Brasami with Marcel Pinedo. He told me, "You have good skills to come to work here," and when I went there. After a while, they told me, "But you have to go school." I say, "Go school?" We say yes because you need to be a sociaal-pedagogische werknemer to work here. And I said, but I can't go to school now, but it was an obligation, so you still had to follow up school in the night and work in the day, so that you can live up to the demands that you can work there. And I was very glad that I got the privilege that I could have worked there with Marcel Pinedo and Brasami, which was one of the largest institutions here in the Netherlands. And it was also a great experience. And putting up all those experience with what I learned in the street, on the road and everything, it really helps.
I just want to commend you for the excellent job you and your team is doing at the Keys Freedom Foundation. I hope and I pray that your problems will be solved. Those 5 months in back rent could be paid, and you remain there because the work that you're doing with your team for Men in St. Martin needs to continue.
I hope we get the opportunity to continue. I have some guys in the center now. They have so much passion. I teach in them. I train in them as leaders like I always did. People don't believe in that, but I have leaders in Curacao now. They are pastors, director of Rehab Center in Curacao, also in Aruba. And they were trained, and they came from the street. And right now I have 3 of them. For instance, Cyril Williams, everybody knows Cyril. Cyril used to work in the bank. Cyril lived for 15 years by the courthouse, right there with his cardboard and everything, and everybody gave up on him, except a few of his family members. And Cyril came in 2012 when we moved in to St. Peter's. And from then on, Cyril is still there. He made 10 years faithfully helping me, helping the guys in the company. He's a role model. And I'm very proud of him for what he's doing as well. And I have 2 others coming up now. I tell you, if they reach to the point after this graduation and we're still there, there's a lot that we're going to do for St. Martin.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming in and speaking with us.
Thank you, Ms.
I hope
Ara.
we can have you back again and with all those problems solved, because we cannot let this happen to an organization that is so important to our community.
Thank you so much, Ara. Thanks for the privilege that I could be in your program.
Thank you for coming back after all these years. And we will make it shorter next time.
It's always good to be in your program.
Always a pleasure having you. Much success. All right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's it. That was Mr. Adamus. He's the director for Keys for Freedom Foundation, a facility for substance abuse men here in St. Martin. And that's it. I'll see you next time right here on Speaking of Everything. Take care. Bye.